A woman calls 911 to report her husband missing. Her voice trembles with concern. She tells police her husband said he'd be gone for a week and told her not to call him. But what the dispatcher doesn't know is that this woman has already confessed to murder. The victim's body lies somewhere in the vast Utah wilderness, buried in a shallow grave. And the truth about what happened behind the closed doors of $1 million home is about to unravel a web of lies, betrayal, and cold-blooded calculation. Are you ready for the darkest stories Britain has to offer? Introducing our new book, Unreal True Crime, British edition. 35 shocking true murder cases that will keep you on the edge of your seat. Available now on Amazon in paperback and Kindle, or grab your instant PDF download from our website. Links are in the description below. Don't miss out. Get your copy today. And now, let's continue with today's case. Cottonwood Heights is an affluent community nestled in the foothills of the Wasatch Mountains, just south of Salt Lake City. Tree-lined streets, well-maintained homes, and a strong sense of community make it the kind of place where families put down roots, where children ride bikes in cul-de-sacs, and neighbors know each other by name. In this idyllic setting live Jennifer Gledhill and Matthew Johnson, raising their 3 children aged 11, 7, and 5. To anyone looking in, they seem to have it all. Their $1 million home stood as a testament to their success. Matthew, at 51 years old, was a Green Beret with the Utah National Guard's 19th Special Forces Group, a decorated soldier who had served his country with honor for over a decade. His fellow soldiers remember Matthew as brilliant and reliable, the kind of man you could always count on for answers, the kind of soldier who exemplified the Special Forces motto, De oppresso liber, to free the oppressed. He had dedicated his life to service, and those who served alongside him considered it an honor. Jennifer, 42, appeared to be the devoted military wife and caring mother. Matthew's friends described her as nice, somewhat of a homebody. She seemed content in her role, supporting her husband's military career while raising their 3 children. The family attended social gatherings with Matthew's military colleagues. They broke bread together. They celebrated holidays and promotions. They were, by all accounts, a normal, happy family. But appearances can be deceiving. By July 2024, behind the facade of domestic bliss, the Johnson-Gledhill marriage was crumbling. The couple had begun discussing divorce, though few people outside their immediate circle knew the extent of their problems. What outsiders saw was a military family navigating the typical stresses of life. What they couldn't see was a relationship that had become, in the words that would later appear in court documents, highly dysfunctional. In August 2024, Jennifer took a dramatic step. She filed for a temporary protective order against Matthew, claiming she needed protection from her husband. It was a serious allegation, one that could have significant implications for Matthew's military career and his relationship with his children. But when the case came before 3rd District Commissioner Russell Minus, something unexpected happened. The commissioner carefully examined the evidence Jennifer had submitted, including videos and text messages meant to demonstrate Matthew's threatening behavior. What he found told a very different story. The videos, Commissioner Minus noted, actually showed Jennifer as unafraid and equally confrontational toward Matthew. The text messages revealed a pattern of Jennifer repeatedly berating, belittling, and demeaning her husband. In the commissioner's assessment, The messages appeared designed to goad Matthew into a violent response. On September 16, 2024, just 5 days before Matthew would be murdered, Commissioner Minus dismissed the protective order. He ruled that no abuse had occurred, but in his written decision, he included words that now seem hauntingly prophetic. The conduct of the parties over the past several months is representative of a highly dysfunctional marriage, bringing out the worst in the parties, clearly suggestive that an action for divorce should have been filed long before reaching the current state of affairs. What Commissioner Minus didn't know was that Jennifer had already decided that divorce proceedings would never be necessary. In the final weeks of his life, Matthew's behavior began to change. According to his close friends, Jennifer's erratic behavior had become so disturbing that Matthew spent much of September sleeping at a National Guard facility. He was concerned for his safety in his own home. Kevin Thompson, a retired Utah National Guardsman and Matthew's longtime friend, recalled one of their last conversations. Matthew, he said, had really come to the conclusion that a divorce needed to happen, and it was time to move on. Matthew was ready to start a new chapter. He was ready to leave the toxic marriage behind and focus on being the best father he could be to his 3 children. But Matthew didn't know everything. He didn't know that Jennifer had been living a double life. Jennifer was having an affair, not just a casual fling or a momentary lapse in judgment, but an intense relationship that consumed her thoughts and emotions. This man, whose name would later become central to the case, believed he knew Jennifer. He saw her as someone unhappy in her marriage, someone seeking connection and understanding. What he didn't realize was just how far Jennifer was willing to go to be free. On September 19, 2024, just 2 days before the murder, Jennifer did something that should have raised alarm bells. She showed her lover a loaded Glock 19X handgun that she kept in the home. At the time, he probably thought nothing of it. After all, many military families own firearms for protection. But prosecutors would later reveal that Jennifer was already planning. She was calculating. She was methodical. She had arranged for their 3 children to stay at her parents' house on the night of September 20th. The children would be safe, she told herself. They wouldn't witness what she was about to do. They wouldn't hear the gunshot that would change their lives forever. The stage was being set for murder. September 20th, 2024 started like any other day. But by evening, the fragile facade of the Johnson-Gledhill marriage would finally shatter. Matthew had discovered the truth. He knew about Jennifer's affair. Witnesses would later report hearing a heated argument between the couple that night. Years of marital problems, months of dysfunction, weeks of tension, all exploded into the open. According to Jennifer's own later confession, Matthew confronted her. He was yelling at her because he knew she had been sleeping with someone else. The argument was intense. Voices were raised. Accusations were hurled. It was the kind of fight that ends marriages. But for Jennifer, it was the kind of fight that would end a life. As the argument subsided and the house fell quiet, Matthew went to bed. Perhaps he believed they would continue the conversation in the morning. Perhaps he thought they would finally begin divorce proceedings. Perhaps he simply needed sleep after an emotionally exhausting evening. He had no idea that he would never wake up. In the early hours of September 21st, 2024, Matthew lay sleeping in the master bedroom. He was completely vulnerable, completely unaware of the danger he was in. The man who had faced enemy combatants in service of his country never imagined that the greatest threat to his life was sleeping beside him. Jennifer made her decision. She took Matthew's own 9mm handgun and shot her husband in the head while he slept. According to her own confession, what happened next can only be described as methodical. There was no panic, no remorse, no moment of "what have I done?" Instead, Jennifer began executing a carefully planned cover-up. She put Matthew's body into a rooftop storage container. Then, in what must have been an exhausting and gruesome task, she slid the container down the stairs of their home. She loaded her husband's body into the back of their family minivan, the same vehicle she used to drive their children to school and activities. She smashed Matthew's phone to prevent it from being tracked. She drove his truck to a nearby neighborhood and abandoned it blocks from their home, creating the illusion that Matthew had left on his own. Then, in the darkness of pre-dawn, Jennifer drove north with her husband's body. Somewhere in the vast expanse of northern Utah, she found a location remote enough to bury him. She dug a shallow grave and placed the father of her children into the ground. When she returned home, the real work began. Jennifer spent hours cleaning the master bedroom. She bleached the walls, trying to eliminate any trace of blood spatter. She used carpet cleaning supplies throughout the room, scrubbing away the evidence of what she had done. But she knew the mattress was too blood-soaked to save. On September 24, just 3 days after the murder, Jennifer ordered a new mattress online. It arrived 2 days later and she quickly installed it, disposing of the one where her husband had been killed. But Jennifer's most critical mistake was yet to come. On September 22nd, just before midnight, and barely 24 hours after the murder, Jennifer showed up at her lover's home. She needed to confess. She needed to tell someone what she had done. Perhaps she wanted absolution. Perhaps she wanted sympathy. Perhaps she simply couldn't bear the weight of the secret alone. She told him everything. How she had killed Matthew. How she had disposed of his body. How she had cleaned up the crime scene. The man noticed bruises on Jennifer's body during their conversation. When he asked about them, her response was chillingly casual. She explained that she had gotten them while burying her husband and cleaning the house of evidence. Her lover was terrified. This woman he thought he knew had just confessed to cold-blooded murder with an almost casual demeanor. But what he did next would prove crucial to the case. Jennifer's lover was so disturbed by her confession that he decided to record their next phone conversation. The phone call was recorded at 11:47 p.m., and what Jennifer said next would seal her fate forever. When he told Jennifer that he was frightened by what she had told him, her response revealed the depths of her detachment from reality. "Wow, if you think I could even hurt a fly," she said. "He's not a person. He wasn't a person anymore. He wasn't Matt." She had dehumanized her husband so completely that his death meant nothing to her. The man she had married, the father of her children, the decorated soldier who had served his country with honor, was no longer a person in her mind. He was simply an obstacle that needed to be removed. But Jennifer's disturbing revelations didn't stop there. When her lover asked if she would be afraid if the situation were reversed, Jennifer replied with words that would become some of the most chilling evidence in the case. "Not if I deserved it. I always preached that I was like the Queen of Hearts in my past lives, because I'm like off with their heads. I'm like, if we could just round up the scum of this earth and put them on an island or just kill them all, I could ship-shape this country back to a good place." Jennifer also asked her lover not to think of her as a monster and to remember who she was before she opened her mouth. The irony was profound. She was asking for understanding after confessing to murdering the father of her children in cold blood. What made this conversation even more significant was its timing. This phone call took place before Matthew was officially reported missing. Jennifer was already referring to her husband in the past tense, even though no one else knew he was dead. Her lover continued to collect evidence. He took screenshots of their text messages. He recorded their phone conversations. And on October 2nd, 2024, he finally contacted police with information that would crack the case wide open. Meanwhile, on September 23rd, the Utah National Guard had begun searching for Matthew when he failed to report for duty. This was completely out of character for a dedicated soldier with over a decade of exemplary service. His fellow Green Berets were concerned. They started making calls, trying to find their friend and colleague. It wasn't until September 28th, a full week after the murder, that Jennifer finally reported Matthew missing to police. She told them that Matthew had said he would be gone for a week and told her not to call him. To the casual observer, it might have seemed like a reasonable explanation, but to investigators who would soon learn the truth, it was a carefully constructed lie. On September 28th, Cottonwood Heights police executed a search warrant on the Johnson-Gledhill home. What they discovered told a very different story than the one Jennifer had been telling. In the master bedroom, investigators found a large blood-stained spot in the carpet underneath the bed. Blood was also found on the bed frame slats. The placement and pattern corroborated exactly what Jennifer had told her lover about shooting Matthew while he slept. The house reeked of bleach. There were reddish-brown spots on the walls, bed frame, and blinds, evidence of blood spatter that hadn't been completely cleaned away. And most tellingly, the mattress in the bedroom was brand new. Phone records confirmed Jennifer had ordered it on September 24th, just 3 days after the murder, and it had been delivered 2 days later. The timing was damning. GPS data from Jennifer's phone painted an even clearer picture. The data showed her traveling to the location where Matthew's truck was found at around 6 a.m. on September 21st. Later that same day, it tracked her journey north toward Davis County, exactly where she had claimed to have buried his body. On October 2nd, 2024, armed with the recorded confessions and overwhelming physical evidence, police arrested Jennifer Gledhill on charges of first-degree murder and obstruction of justice. But the investigation was far from over. On October 24, 2024, police made 2 more arrests that would shock the community. Jennifer's parents, Thomas Gledhill, age 71, and Rosalie Gledhill, age 67, were charged with 4 counts of obstruction of justice. The investigation revealed that the couple had spent over 5 hours at Jennifer's house in late September, despite initially claiming they were only there for less than an hour to pick up clothing. What were they really doing during those hours? Investigators discovered that Rosalie had purchased the new mattress for Jennifer. Even more suspicious, she had her phone remotely reset during the cleanup period, losing all data about her whereabouts and activities. It was a digital cover-up to match the physical one. When police questioned Thomas about the master bedroom and the alleged cleanup, his words revealed more than he intended. "I did not go in where the incident happened," he told them, inadvertently revealing knowledge of a crime scene that hadn't been publicly disclosed. During a search of the parents' home, police found the Glock 19X gun box wrapped in a child's onesie inside a plastic tote near Jennifer's bedroom. The container matched the description of the gun Jennifer had shown to her lover on September 19th, just 2 days before she used it to kill her husband. The perfect murder Jennifer had planned was becoming a family affair. But their web of lies was quickly unraveling. Months have passed since Jennifer's arrest, but Matthew Johnson's body remains missing. The search for this decorated soldier has become one of the most extensive in recent Utah history. Search efforts have covered multiple counties, extending from Davis and Weber counties all the way to Box Elder County near the Utah-Idaho border. Over 70 searchers have participated in the ongoing efforts, including law enforcement, volunteers, and Matthew's own military friends who have organized their own search parties. These are the men who served alongside Matthew, who trusted him with their lives in dangerous situations, who considered him a brother. Now they're searching fields, forests, and remote areas, hoping to bring their friend home. During recent court hearings, prosecutors revealed that a vehicle storage container had been found floating in water, and it contained Matthew's blood inside. This discovery provided additional physical evidence linking Jennifer to the crime, but Matthew's body still hasn't been recovered. The search continues to expand across northern Utah as investigators follow every lead, hoping to finally bring Matthew home to his family. Jennifer Gledhill has pleaded not guilty to all charges against her. She faces 1 count of first-degree murder, 5 counts of obstruction of justice, 1 count of possession of a controlled substance, 1 count of abuse or desecration of a human body, and 1 count of tampering with a witness. During her bail hearing, prosecutors argued that Jennifer posed a significant danger to the community and to the integrity of the investigation. They revealed that she had told her lover she would shoot herself before going to jail, demonstrating both her desperation and potential for further violence. The judge sided with prosecutors and denied Jennifer's request for bail, noting that she posed a risk to the community. She remains in custody at the Salt Lake County Jail, awaiting trial. Adding another layer of complexity to the case is the question of Matthew's $500,000 insurance policy with Jennifer named as the beneficiary. With Jennifer facing murder charges and Matthew's body still missing, Prudential has asked the court to determine who should receive the money. It's a grim reminder that, in addition to destroying lives, Jennifer's actions created complicated legal and financial questions. Jennifer's trial is scheduled to begin on December 8, 2025, and is expected to last 8 days. The prosecution's case appears overwhelming. They have Jennifer's recorded confession. They have physical evidence from the crime scene. They have GPS data tracking her movements. They have the testimony of her lover. And they have the evidence that her parents helped cover up the crime. The prosecution's theory is straightforward but chilling. Jennifer Gledhill killed her husband because he discovered her affair, and she wanted to be free to pursue her relationship with her lover. Rather than go through a messy divorce that might have resulted in shared custody and financial obligations, she chose murder. Perhaps the most heartbreaking aspect of this case is the 3 children who have lost both parents, 1 parent to murder, 1 parent to prison. These children, now aged 11, 7, and 5, will grow up knowing that their mother killed their father. They will live with the knowledge that their grandparents helped cover up the crime. They will never have another Christmas with their father, never graduate with him watching proudly, never have him walk them down the aisle or meet his grandchildren. Matthew Johnson's family has released a statement through their victim representative. We are hopeful that we will find Matt soon, or that Jennifer, or someone will come forward with the location of his body so we can properly lay him to rest. It's a simple request, but one that Jennifer has refused to honor. Even now, facing life in prison, she won't tell authorities where Matthew's body can be found. It's a final act of cruelty toward the man she once promised to love and honor. As we await Jennifer Gledhill's trial in December 2025, one question haunts everyone involved in this case. How does a mother of 3 justify destroying so many lives for the sake of an affair? Perhaps we'll never fully understand the depths of Jennifer Gledhill's selfishness and cruelty. Perhaps there is no explanation that could make sense of such a senseless act. What we do know is that her actions have created wounds that will never fully heal. Justice may eventually be served, but Matthew Johnson will never come home to his children. He will never see them grow up. He will never hold his grandchildren. And somewhere in northern Utah, a devoted father and soldier lies in an unmarked grave, waiting for someone to finally tell the truth about where he can be found. This has been the case of Jennifer Gledhill, a story of betrayal, murder, and a family torn apart by one woman's inability to face the consequences of her actions. Matthew Johnson served his country with honor. He deserved better. His children deserved better. And somewhere out there, in the vast Utah wilderness, he waits to finally be brought home.